Welcome to Crest in partnership with Elusive, the environmentally conscious lifestyle brand. Producer Dodd here, delighted to be bringing you an episode in time for the end of 2024. I know Tom's been blaming my now not so recent fatherhood for the hiatus in episodes, but I'm going to set the record straight and just blame him instead. Anyway, not that it matters, because here we are, and our real excuse is that we've just been waiting for the Welsh to happen. As most of you know, 2024 has turned out to be the year of the postponed nationals in Wales. But it finally ran, right in the middle of Storm Bert. While most were hiding indoors, the brave competitive surfers of Wales duked it out in some whomping Lantwit. Winners of the big two were Logan, Nicol and Josie Hawke, both of whom have just given their first interview since here in this show. In Josie's case, it was a rare quadruple of under 14s, under 16s, under 18s and the Open. She picked up the other three titles when the juniors round back in spring. But the best of the rest were Greg Owen, who won the over 40s, seeing off both Vaughan and Tom in the final on the lovely Lantwit ledge. Ryan Thomas with the over 35s, again won at Vaughan's expense. Ty Jackson with the bodyboard title, and another of Crest's own, Elliot Dudley with the longboard. And then in the women's longboard, there was a first win at the Welsh for Sindia Sosdian, who we've also got in the studio for this show. Sindia also pushed Josie close in the Open, where she was the runner-up, which finished off a good year of competing for the New Jersey-born founder of Channel Women's Surf, Wales's newest and most up-and-coming club. Besides the Welsh, we've had a few fun topics for you, including surf diaries and surf counting, the perennial debate about whether summer or winter is best, and a few other bits of general pre-Christmas chatter. Oh, and we've also got a few highlights of Greg Owen's guest commentary. So once again, thanks for listening. Have a good last few weeks of the year, and it's time for the 2024 return of Crest.
So it finally ran. Logan, Sindia, you're the two guys we pulled into the studio. We're going to hear a little bit from Josie shortly as well. And how are you both feeling? It's the sort of, what is it? It's the second day after the night before or the afternoon before. I don't really know what the phrase should be. How are you feeling?
Pretty good, I'd say. Some people even texted me, "Hey, champ," and
Now you're obviously used to that, though, Logan.
No, I'm not used to it, but it was like a nice feeling afterwards, you know. And my work group chat, they were all loving it. And
did you point out how many times it is to them?
That I've done it 3 times?
Yeah.
No, I actually didn't make that. I just was happy that I did it in Storm Bert. I was just like pretty.
Oh right,
I hammered that home. I was like, yeah, I surfed in a storm.
I had that as well on Monday morning from a colleague saying like that they saw that we were doing that on the weekend and they were like, they're mad. Because it was kind of interesting to drive into a surfing competition and like the news was saying to me on the radio as I'm driving to the competition, the entire country is like battening down the hatches. Yeah. Pontypridd is underwater. You know, it's like
there's all yellow weather warnings, wasn't there?
Yeah, I was worried, and everywhere there was sewage warnings except Lantwit. So the Welsh water pumping, like the pumping station, the guards were with us. No sewage got used.
The sewage would have had no chance with the strength of that river that was going by. They got stuck by the Hogwarts.
Would have drifted right past.
So let's talk about how the actual event went then, shall we? Because it turned out there were pretty decent waves, and I suppose we've kind of got slightly different sort of journeys going through the event. For you had relatively straightforward earlier rounds. You know, I think you were in the first heat of the day, weren't you? In the worst surf of the whole weekend.
Yeah, that first heat, I was happy to know that day was just going to be one heat. Yeah. Because the conditions were just so bad. But first heat was like pretty hard. I had my Pat in my heat and Tom O'Leary from Porthcawl, and it was in like the worst waves. You probably wouldn't even. I wouldn't even surf land to it like that.
Are you sure?
I've been out there in some questionable conditions, but
you must surf waves like that to be able to surf waves like that. Should you ever get sent into a heat in waves like that?
Yeah, true. But like, I feel like over the weekend we were made to surf land to it at the tides I wouldn't choose to go there on. Like basically the whole weekend. So that wasn't ideal for me. But yeah, used to the wind and like the terrible waves, I guess.
And then, let's be honest, you've done it plenty of times. You've won the Welsh twice, and you've taken Pat down in finals twice at the Welsh. So both times you won it, he's been in the final with you, am I right? So how did you feel on Sunday to wake up and learn that unfortunately Pat was out with an injury? Get well soon, Pat.
Yeah, pretty good. He called me that morning. Obviously, we both knew we'd be awake, so he called me. He'd been up for like a couple hours stretching, and he said my back's just screwed. And I know he'd had that problem. Like, he's been struggling with his back. I don't know whether it was like just sitting in the van from Swansea down here and then surfing his heat and going straight home that did it. But yeah, I think he's not scared of anyone, is he? He's not pulled out for any other reason. So yeah, I was really gutted because he's my best friend and he's like, to me, like the person I really want to beat. So it was nice to like beat him in the first heat. That was a bit of like, that felt quite good. But yeah, we want him in a final, and yeah, I want to share a final with him.
Yeah, and not to take anything away from the rest of the Welsh surfers, right? But you and Pat are the surfers who surf like professional surfers right now. You're the QS standard guys. So be really honest with us now, right? Pat's gone. Do you then look at the rest of the field and think like, this is mine to win? Or do you, or do you sort of, how do you not take it for granted and make sure it still happens? Because it was close in the end.
Yeah, super close. Like, one, you know the conditions, we all knew the conditions weren't going to be favourable, which is good for me, but because I love like rubbish, I always surf terrible waves, but anything can happen when the waves are bad like that. And then you've also got guys like, literally everyone. You've got locals like Mark Vaughan, knows Lantuit really well, Tom Sheldon, I surf with him all the time, I see him surf really well.
Yeah.
And then Harry Cromwell, like we all have seen him throughout the contest. He had the highest wave score of the event.
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't like mine at all. I did feel like I was in for a good chance.
Yeah.
Even with Pat in the draw, I'd like to, fancy myself to win. But yes, you can't count your chickens before they hatch.
And he got an 8.33, Harry. You'd been in the lead before that. There was 500 quid from Barty Rum for the highest wave score of the weekend.
What was like 0.05 off it or something?
You salty about that?
Yeah, I was actually. I was really really gutted and like. But it's amazing that they put that forward for the contest. So I was just really excited to I tried to do my best to like surf for that money.
But Sindia, you got a 9 in the Wilkinson sword earlier this year. So did you have the rum in your sights as well?
No, actually, I wanted to do the double win. I wanted to do longboard and shortboard. Yeah. I've been building momentum for a year now, thinking about completing what I call the Welsh Triple Crown of competitions. So
this is the
Wilkinson sword,
Toxic Trophy,
Toxic Trophy, and the Welsh Nationals. And I wanted to. Yeah. From an outsider perspective, that seems like the local historical competition.
They are the three
big ones.
Big nostalgia, and to have had the Toxic Trophy back this year after something like 20 years off has been pretty special. Yeah. There was also an event back in the day. There was a Scholastic event they used to have as well, which would have been a junior event, which would have been like, if you want to really go for like a full retro year in Welsh surfing, we'd have had the Scholastics as well. But that would have been no use to any of us. Logan's the only one who's only just out of the juniors. Talk to us. So Sindia, your experience though was to be not surfing at all on the Saturday. You did watch a little.
Yeah, no, I actually walked down, I watched, I thought, whoa, those conditions a bit crummy. I thought tomorrow sounds better. But on Sunday, I was quite happy to see there was good pumping swell. I thought that'll be favourable to showcase the women's surfing. Our heats, because so many people couldn't travel because of Storm Bert, we only got to do finals. We were all kind of amped in our wetsuits, wanting to surf a few times. But I actually was pretty excited because Ledges is one of those spots that is unique. I think it's got a really powerful right hand wave to it, and so longboarding it was like an event. You got a lot of momentum, you got a lot of board, but shortboarding it was really fun.
Yeah. It was, we'll talk about this again in a second, but you must go back and listen to Greg Owen's commentary of that longboarding, because it was...
I actually did.
You guys were longboarding the ledge, and he was really enjoying watching you guys.
He was talking about us building our momentum and building our score, and I was like, yeah, maybe that's what I was doing, but I actually was trying to not run into a rock or navigate my board. But it was really good to surf with everyone from 14-year-old Josie Hawke all the way to people who are
But Georgina Lutus, who you beat in the longboard, she's a champ. She's a former champ.
Yeah. That was really fun. Yeah. We were both cruising down the line, trying our best. And
then we'll talk about the women's final then, because exactly like what happened in the men's final. So in the men's final, Harry ended up getting a wave that would have been the score had Logan not got another one at exactly the same time that pushed the score further out of reach, and that's exactly the same that happened to you. Neither of you guys had any idea. I think I was in there the day before, and you couldn't hear scores down on that ledge.
No.
Did you would have had an onboard computer, Logan, kind of giving you the sense of where you were?
Yeah, a little bit, but I feel like it's easier to do that at international events where you kind of know kind of what everyone's been sort of how people are surfing, whereas
and
in those
you
conditions,
can trust the other guy's strategy to be similar.
Exactly. Whereas there, I paddled in from being out on the point and didn't have a clue what anyone had done.
You did. You paddled in at the end, and it looked like you didn't know you needed. You didn't know that you didn't need a score.
No idea what I needed. I just thought I need to get 2 waves here, so I was just sort of scrambling to get.
I remember exactly now because it looked like you needed to block, but you acted like you were needing a score.
Yeah. I just thought, I just want to. I love that wave, so I love surfing ledges. Yeah. So in my head, I thought, well, I want 500 quid, and I like surfing this wave, so I'm going to just surf as good as I can.
500 quid.
I did like watching you paddle out at the point, very brave mid-tide, and I was like, good luck, we may never see him again.
Oh yeah, you started at the point, didn't you?
Yeah.
I was just following Harry. I just thought, well, he's probably like my main competition this heat. So
I was like, what's Logan doing out there?
Yeah.
Where are they? Can you see them?
And hadn't you guys learnt your lesson from Vaughnie's double humiliation the day before? So for the benefit of the listener, in case you weren't following, in both the 35s and the 40s final the day before, Vaughnie decided to surf solely up the point on his own.
Do you know what? I didn't know he did that.
And it totally backfired both times. So in the first one, he got fourth, I believe.
Yeah, I saw.
And didn't get anything. And then in the 40s final, he got one good one and couldn't find a backup. And was saying on the beach afterwards, oh yeah, I knew the ledge was going to turn off, and so I did take great pleasure in saying, Vaughnie, Greg's score was about 2 minutes before the end of the heat.
Really? Yeah, it worked all the way through, basically.
Yeah, it worked all the way through. Well, you've answered my question. You didn't know
that I needed a score.
No, you didn't know that Vaughnie had come a cropper doing the same thing.
No, I know. I literally went straight away after my heat the day before, so I didn't watch any of the event. I just followed how. I just thought, right, I'm following him because I fancy my surf. I fancy my knowledge of the wave and my surfing in comparison. Whereas if I'm on the ledge and they deem those waves that they're bigger, then I'm in with no chance. So I just thought I'll follow him, and then he just ditched me straight away, and I was left out there for dead. So. Yeah, it did backfire a bit. Yeah,
fair enough. And that's an interesting bit of competition philosophy there, the idea that if you're the favourite, you want to go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, you want to be against.
If you're the underdog, you want to avoid toe-to-toe and find something different. Yeah, so you were basically stopping Harry from shining
out there. You want to kind of match up to him.
Now, you went toe-to-toe with Josie Hawke then, and you were both on the ledge. Was that fun?
Actually, I thought it was really fun. Yeah, I was nervous because I really wanted to do well, but actually, it was 100 people watching the live feed or something like that, watching 4 women surf ledges. I've never in 4 years surfed with 4 women at ledges, maybe one, maybe once per year. So for me, I was like, wow, this is surreal. That being said, I did know I didn't have a backup score. So, in those last few minutes,
so you had the onboard computer?
I mean, I watched so much WSL competition that I already was like scoring myself. I'm like 3, 2.6,
nice.
1, up and down. And I was like, no, I don't have a double hit anything. I see Josie, she's like, I'm like, no. So I knew, and I was like, oh, second, no, I want double victory. And I got that wave at the end, but she also got the wave, and I know she was looking at me as I complete it, and I think she said to me something like, oh, that was a good wave, double hit, and she kind of looked like, what's that mean? I was like, wait, what happened? Did you get a good wave?
So she spoke to you then?
Yeah, we both had an exchange when we got out, because we completed at the same time. We were both a bit like, and then we went up, I think maybe to her dad.
Oh, but the horn had gone.
Yeah.
So this was right. So these pleasantries were taking place outside of the heat of battle,
and
right?
So then her dad or her family showed us, she won. I was stoked for her.
Because
that's all the junior and the open.
It's the whole lot, yeah. So Josie Hawke has won the under 14s, the under 16s, the under 18s, and the open all in one go.
Retire.
Well, rather than retire, she went to school, and as you guys were arriving, I caught up with Josie, and I began by asking her what it was like to go to school the Monday morning after that achievement.
Well, I was very tired at first, so I strolled into school with my music on.
What music?
I listen to a lot. I listen to lots of Passenger and Coldplay. Bit of Ed Sheeran.
So these are things to calm you down, so you're not like buzzing too much going to school, right?
Yeah. First I got told off for having the wrong shorts. I made an excuse that I was representing Pembrokeshire on the weekend.
Right.
But no, generally it was all right. I've always got that dreamy look on my face.
Yeah.
After I've been away and I come back to doing something like school.
Yeah.
And it's a bit,
and
yay.
Were you buzzing then?
Yeah, I was very happy, very excited.
So I know.
And lots of people didn't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So earlier in the year, obviously, you did the triple. And so then this is the same calendar year. So that means that you've now made it the quadruple. So did you kind of like celebrate the other 3 wins as well? Or did this kind of feel like did it feel like the same event?
Yeah, I guess it did. But it felt different. You know, there were different people around, different conditions, obviously, and different people in the category competing against new faces like Sindia. She was ripping, and Georgie and Katie found some good waves as well.
Did you feel any pressure in the last bit of that final? Because were you aware of the stat that like, right, well, if I win this, then I've won the 14s, 16s, 18s and Open all in the same year. And if I don't win this, then, well, you wouldn't be under 14 next year and it can never be done again. Or do you not think like that?
No, I guess I didn't really think like that because that applies more pressure. I just thought it was like another comp, another heat to surf and surf my best in. More heat experience, I guess, to surf at a different place. I'm just trying to build on those scores, trying to get into like the 13s and 14s for heat scores. So yeah, it's just good to get another heat down, regardless of results or you know what it looks like. It's just good to compete. That's what I love.
Did you know the situation? Because I surfed a heat down there the day before and you couldn't hear anything.
No, I was totally unaware. I know I'd got a couple good scores down, and I got that wave in the last minute or whatever it was, and then I saw Sindia get the wave behind me, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is going to be close," you know. But other than that, I had no clue.
Yeah, and so obviously, the wave that you got would have been needed because the wave Sindia got would have. Yeah, so you avoided there being a lead change, didn't you?
But I surfed that wave with no pressure because I didn't know.
Oh, okay, so, yeah. So you rode the wave before Sindia, didn't you? So you didn't know what it was going to do. Oh, okay, cool. And then you were not allowed the main prize. Tell us about this.
I was not. I was very huffy, and I came home, and my mum and dad were like, "Where's your rum?" I was like, "I don't know, I want my rum." And in school, I was speaking to teachers. Hang on. And they were...
Dad is trying to interrupt for the benefit of the listener.
Sorry. In school, I was speaking to teachers about it, and they were like, "Oh, what did you win?" I was like, "Yeah, dry road from Mystic, some sunburn stickers and stuff." But they wouldn't let me have my rum. And they were all very disappointed that I didn't get my rum.
I once gave Alice Barton a title on a podium at Fistral Beach a few years ago, and it was like a blazing heat wave, and there was like 1,000 people like in front of the podium, and Alice used that platform as an under 18 to get the crowd to tell her parents to reverse their decision to not let her go to the concert that night. Is that your next plan then? You sort of using crowd power to overrule mum and dad?
I don't think that's happening. I did try and tempt Greg Owen into it. He wanted a second bottle. And we were having a bit of a haggle for money.
Okay.
I got Dad on the phone as well, give him permission. And then he said he'd do a swap. He could give me some of his no limit mitts.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's a good idea.
In return for the rum, and I went up, and they didn't give it to me, so I missed out on a pair of really good mitts for winter.
So let's have one more serious question then about you and goals. We're generally careful when asking youngsters about this kind of question. I didn't even ask it to Lucas after he'd won that QS this summer, but it's still it's a fun question, so let's go for it. Like, have you got goals? What are they at the moment? Do you think about that kind of thing? Because I suppose Win the Welsh is now done.
Like for further away.
Answer the question without being under any pressure. So like what would you sort of like to do? No pressure.
Well, in terms of competing, I'd love to win the British Cup. The under-18s. I would love to do some QSs, junior QSs, enter Boardmasters. What else? I'd love to do well in the Euro Juniors, Portugal or France, wherever it's going to be. And in terms of surfing with a team, I'd really going to work towards getting to the progression squad, GB surfing.
Okay.
When I get towards that age.
And do you do any other sports? I've seen you good at music.
I do play piano and a little bit of guitar. I do lots of tennis. It gets you moving, It's really good.
Not as good as surfing.
No, it's not. It's always second rate. I do quite a bit of skating. What else? I play netball and basketball and stuff in school as well. So I do a lot of sports. But whenever there's something on, surfing always comes first.
Amen to that. Hey, llongyfarchiadau, Josie. It's a spectacular achievement. It may well never be done again. And thanks to Mum and Dad for letting Josie join us on Zoom.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The one takeaway I want to ask you both about there, you hear what Josie just said about her goal in the heat, Logan.
Yeah, I didn't realise she had that goal. Because I was standing with her literally before she started out.
Is that a good goal?
I think it's pretty cool for a 14-year-old, girl in Wales to be thinking with that mindset. Like I was with her at the British, me, Pat, Cal, we all supported her there, and then I was with her before that heat. I didn't realise that was going on in her head. I thought she just was. Yeah. She's never surfed Landsfoot before. She doesn't surf over reef sheets. So I'm really impressed by her, and I think she can go really, really far in the sport.
I think she could have gone for the Barty wave, because if we had more heats, the women, like if there was more opportunity,
that's a good
she
point.
Could have had more
got one heat.
Statistics. So if you looked at the stats for the top waves, which I had a look at, some Josie, myself, we were, we're in the sixes,
but from
almost
one heat.
One heat, so that's 25 minutes of your life.
Yeah.
Throw out 75 minutes, maybe we'd have more potential. I reckon, can we compete in the open? Just the open.
Interesting. Yeah, or do like what used to be done at Old Europeans with one contest, another contest, a grand final or something. So that's well. I hope the right people are listening. That's a good point you raised there. Do you know whether she got to 13 points? Have you looked at it that closely? I can tell you the answer.
I know,
but I want to tell you were in the heat. Do you know how many points you got?
I was 1.5 points below her, and I was at like an 8.5. So I reckon no. If the combined total score.
So you reckon your heat total was 8.5?
I think something like that, and then it was like a 6 and a 3. Maybe it was. Maybe it was a 10. I don't know.
She got 12.
Oh, awesome!
So nearly, Josie, but must do better.
Well, that's still a good.
It is.
That's still a really good score. 12 is like, if you can get 12 every heat, you're like
25 minutes.
They worked it out. You make the tour if you do that on the QS. If you go 12 if you did 12 points every heat, you would make the tour. CT, I think so.
Really?
Something like that. Or even definitely the Challenger if you did it in Europe.
Yeah. Hey, and I tell you what, on that note, the WSL have announced, haven't they, that we're going to 24 for the women. So that is the direction of travel.
Finally, there's so many people on the WQS that are out of that bubble that,
Yolanda, hopefully.
Oh my God! Did you see how heartbreaking that was? The heart. It came down to a heat in Brazil.
It is our job to talk about gritty things, but it hurts me to talk about it.
Yeah, that was like really hard to watch.
It inches.
Yeah.
But going from like 5, what is it, to how many now?
So they go from 16 to 24.
Yeah,
so
I'm so stoked.
So how many will qualify off the Challenger? Will it be 10?
It'll be a couple more off the Challenger.
Which is good. That's a good thing as well.
Yeah, the 24 will comprise, I'm guessing it'd be 8 from the Challenger maybe. But that would have put Yolo in.
Yeah, she would do that. Yeah.
Wait, I'm sure she's waiting.
Next year she'll be there.
Let's
There's some
see.
wild cards. Stephanie Gilmore, is she going to stay on?
Let's
is she going to retire?
True.
Let's see. I think.
Watch this space.
I kind of don't want to jinx that, and but
she's had CT starts before though.
And beaten Carissa Moore.
Yeah.
when she gets a CT start, she licks everyone, doesn't she? Yeah. Interesting. The one last thing we're going to say before we move on from talking about the Welsh, then. One of the great pleasures that has recently emerged in Welsh surfing is listening, of course, to the greats of commentary and sport punditry. And before anyone gets the wrong idea, I'm speaking, of course, about Gregory Ross Owen.
Tom Anderson's on that right-hander. I thought he might catch. He's on it. It's his last wave. He won't be getting back out after that. So let's see what. So hopefully it opens up for him now. There's another little swoop there. Gouge, and then he's a little bank off the white there. And the wave continues. It just keeps giving.
That Greg is a runner.
Yes, look at Tom. Oh, he's almost boat up right there. His legs have gone.
And then the replay.
There's the replay of Tom. This is towards the end of the ride here. He's just trimming along. That's a nice little hack.
It's got a bit of a corner, wasn't it, on the way?
And again, that's a little super dragon foam climb there.
And this is those legs
so
go
good.
there.
Dragon.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, your legs have gone. Now you got those lovely cobblestones to deal with there now. You enjoy that there now. But what a heat for Harry Cromwell.
Let's have a look at Greg. Who'd have thought that Greg would get most animated of all over bodyboarding?
White's up and riding. Ty's going for that L roll.
There we go, and he rides
complete.
out.
Okay, so that's the best single manoeuvre of the heat, isn't it?
Big spin, sticks with it. We're going to see some ledge
that's
action.
The best wave of the heat. Get up the ledge, Ty. Go on, boy. You know you want to. It's
Reverse spin.
Reverse spin onto ledge. That's a good idea.
Oh, he's going to get a little section to hit here.
What? The
go on, back yourself.
Ty, go on, you can do it.
He's done
That's the hammer. Up the ledge.
Fantastic.
Well done, lovely boy.
Going to be a score there.
Oh, you're not entertained. Look, he's giving it the claim. Fantastic, Ty. Yes, I am entertained, Ty. Well done, mate. You diving headbanger. Well done.
We enjoyed that. 5 minutes remaining. Ty Jackson in white, entertaining Greg no end.
Ty, you're the man. I'll buy you a drink later, mate. That's fantastic.
So he's looking to replace a 3.33. I reckon he's done it with that.
Oh, that's the best. That's the best scoring wave of the heat. Look at him go.
Fantastic stuff.
Total reckless abandon.
Hey, others call it commitment.
Yeah, look the way he had no what would you say? No care for his own self-preservation at all. He's just like, whatever for the cause. Up the rocks we go. Go on, Ty.
And the claim afterwards as well. Hands in the air, hands aloft, and he gets a 7.67 for it.
A massive score.
7.67.
Brilliant. Yeah.
He's like, he is the Welsh Barton Lynch, isn't he? He is like just.
Well, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that said. Yeah, and he kind of is, isn't he?
That's what he sounds like to me.
He just
he
needs the
sounds like
beard.
Welsh.
Yeah, well, that's we need Greg to grow the beard. So, Greg, grow a beard, and Greg, your commentary is fantastic, and we'd love more of it. They're going to run it in March. Next year, they're saying they're going to try and run it, and so back at Lantwitz, go on, just give me a yay or nay in your opinion. Back at Lantwitz, India.
Local Lancer, gotta say yay. 5 spots.
Should it be, or do I want it to be?
Okay, a two-part question. Very clever.
My
Okay,
answer.
so it's like you're in university again now, Cindy, with the two-part answer. Very clever, right? Do you want it to be?
Yeah.
Should it be?
Nah.
Okay.
Maybe in March.
I want it to be, but I think it maybe shouldn't be.
Where should it be then?
Atlantic should be an option, but I think there should just be another venue.
Yeah. So
as well.
to be very clear about this, right? Wales's membership to the ISA is contingent on holding surfing competitions that adhere to certain ISA standards. One of those is the priority system. So we as a nation must run a priority system at our nationals to be eligible. We can't to submit surfers to an ISA event. They've got to have won through in a priority system. So it's got to be somewhere where we can have electricity, like a warm place to sit and somewhere to put the priority system up, where the priority can't go around the corner as well, So you've got to be able to set your priority base up. So brainstorm, where else? Because that does at the moment take fresh out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only thing I would argue back with that is we nearly didn't have a Welsh this year. So what's better, a contest with manual priority where you still can have it.
Yeah.
And, like how we used to have Stu Bentley on the board, someone just has to stand in the rain or hopefully the sunshine, or we don't have a comp. So in my eyes, I thought, I didn't really understand the logic. I couldn't hear my scores in Landsborough anyway when they had the electricity. But that's proper slated it. I love Landsborough as a venue. I think it's a great venue. And it is tricky. Rest Bay, I think, would be a good one. It's just about getting in touch with the right people, I guess. I don't know. It's so easy for me to say it.
White Sands?
Yeah, I've never been there, but I've heard it's a good wave. I've never surfed it.
I think you should make the WSL and let the final roam. So each year it could be in a different location.
Oh, that would be cool.
With a club hosting it. So Pembrokeshire could host it, Welsh Coast Surf Club could host it, Channel Coast and Channel Women could host it in Landsborough. So it's a roving final to showcase each of the local breaks. And you probably would have to think about infrastructure like we've been saying.
Yeah.
But I reckon that would just be bonus for Welsh community and surfing. And just, I don't know. Why don't I throw that one out?
Yeah, and maybe
Mic drop.
I like it. Maybe we can grow Welsh surfing to the point where, when you get the Commonwealth Games or the Olympics, somewhere we'll have to build the infrastructure. So we'll go to the Buryport Sands or something, and they can build us a nice tower there or something like that. And
do you know how much swell Buryport needs to actually work?
Oh, producer Dodd's interjecting there, warning us Buryport doesn't get enough swell. Well, there we go. Right now, this brings me. Firstly, one last thing. I got to apologise, Logan, for the following clanger.
And here's a fact for you. You're going to like this. Logan's fiancée, Nicol, would be called Nicol if they were to follow through.
You're assuming that she would
if
take
he was
the
to
Nicol
make her an
name.
honest woman.
It could be a progressive.
Oh yeah, that's true. And guess what? It's her birthday today.
Pembroke Hapis Nicol.
Yeah. So
perhaps Logan will dedicate the win to her.
But will he have 500 quid to spend?
So there were two people who just entered the corner of the studio at that point. I'd never met them before in my life, and I wasn't sure they were. And they looked quite important. So I was kind of guessing, event sponsors, someone like that. Maybe it's Barty Rum. Better show off. So me and Rob were having a bit of fun, and I explained that you were engaged to Nicol, and the two people turned out to be Nicole's parents. And for the record, are you engaged to Nicol?
No, we had just attended Pat's engagement party 2 days before. I'm not engaged to my girlfriend.
Right.
That I know of.
Sorry, Nicol, and to Nicole's parents.
Yeah.
Your dad told me.
That we were engaged?
Yeah, it was your dad's fault.
He
claims he didn't tell me. I wasn't listening properly, but, the trouble is, apparently I'm not a good listener. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm never listening to anyone, but there we go.
Have you talked about Nicol?
We have. At first we were like, oh yeah, that's pretty mental.
What's her surname? Maybe it could be Logan.
It could be her. Yeah, it could be Logan Mark, but
that sounds nice.
Mark, yeah.
Oh, I like that.
That. There you go. You fixed it.
Lloyd Ashley, the rugby player.
Yeah.
So he married his wife Phoebe. They live in Porthcawl, and Ashley is both of their middle name. They had the same middle name.
Wow.
So what's Nicole's middle name?
Santana. Angela Santana.
Oh, and what's yours?
Michael Allen.
I like her names.
I think Nicol sounds pretty cool to me.
Allen. Oh, okay. But you bought a house.
Yeah, I just recently moved in, yeah.
So cohabitating, a cat, dog?
No, we have no animals yet.
Oh, get the dog, slippery slope to the engagement.
We'll see how we go.
Oh, he's looking suitably uncomfortable. I like that. Right. Right, so the Welsh was meant to happen in the summer, and it ended up happening in the winter. And the reason it didn't happen in the summer is because there wasn't enough surf. But the weather was lovely. And now it's happened in the winter, and the surf was pumping. But the weather was apocalyptic, literally. And so this brings about, we like a debate on Crest, and Logan, you've sat in this very studio and taken part in an entire regulated old school's Mace style debating format. So I thought I'd throw a little bit of a debate out here now then, right? And listeners, if you want to message in or tell us what you think, we'd love to hear. Which is better, summer or winter?
The wintry months are for sure. I don't really like being too hot anyway.
So right,
being too anything is not good, but I don't like being hot. So
I'd
rather wrap up, get warm, have good waves, shorter days, so I get to sleep a little bit longer. So yeah, it's perfect for me. I like the autumn into winter.
Sounds like the answer of a person who hasn't got a real job, don't you think, Sindia?
Well, I was going to counter with, I'm pro-winter, but shorter days mean if you work, less time to surf.
Yeah,
if they're big tides and you're trying to focus in on the right location. But that's the only negative, I think, of the winter. I'm pro-winter. You get most named storms. You get sometimes good winds for Lancewood. I'd say you get more northwest winds in the winter post storm. So for me, I like it. It's good northwesterly. That's also you've got good wetsuits. So and it's not even really too cold.
Nah.
In New Jersey, it would get down to 0 in the water and below 0 in the air. So
get to that Edinburgh wave pool. I think they'd have a different story up there, wouldn't they? They just want summer.
The only downside to winter is with all the storms and the rainfall, there's been such a high frequency of sewage getting discharged.
Right.
That as a surfer in the winter, you have to navigate the question of what if? Do I surf?
Do you worry about that then? Because I'm just going to be honest, right? I just go in when there's a sewage spill. I've never once not gone in the sea.
I used to not worry. Do you remember there was always the thing of Oldmore's really polluted?
Yeah. And I tell you what, I was there in the 90s, and it was you duck dive
coming up the river.
Yeah, you duck dive and come up with sanitary products on your face.
Yeah, I've heard the stories, but I never worried. But the last 2 years, maybe my immune system's got worse, but I've gotten ill and no one else has been ill around me, and I do think it may have something to do with the water. Maybe it doesn't, but I am more conscious, more aware. It could just be on my social media more, it's a bit trendy to talk about it.
It's partly helped change the UK government, hasn't it? I mean, surely it was a very negative story for the outgoing government.
And it had a massive impact on the business I used to work for.
Yeah.
Well, I still do massive. People would be scared to go surfing, so we'd lose revenue. People would walk past and...
Would you cancel lessons if they'd been still?
Yeah, we cancelled multiple times. Cancelled lessons.
Really?
I know Hugh has, so I feel for him and other businesses that rely on the water.
Well, it's tricky. So in the last few years, you actually have data. So you have real-time data. So it's a big decision. So it's a personal
Dodd,
decision.
you invited the scientist on. Right? Here we go.
But on Monday, it was telling me that Lancewood, released this time, then a few hours later, and Lancewood, it's just upriver. You're just there. You're just surfing. So you have to make a conscious decision. I've gotten sick too in the last few years.
Yeah, right.
And so you just got to make the choice. Can I be ill for a few days and also surf?
That's really interesting.
You set the app to ping if you've got pollution since you're
all right, okay.
And you can just see it released at 10 a.m, 12, 13. I was like,
Who
my stomach's...
that data? Is it the water companies that are giving...
It's an app. Yeah, no, if they do it, they have to timestamp it. And so for certain
that's assuming they're telling the truth, I suppose.
I think there's regulations on at least when... I don't know how much, though, is being released, but there's actually a timestamp, and you can see in your local area when the last time. And they give you advice. I think it's 2 to 48 hours.
Wow.
You're making me second guess now, because having said all of that, right, I have been ill, as in gastro ill, more times in the last 5 or 6 years. And previously, I would literally never have a stomach bug. And I'd simply put it down to having kids and just assuming that kids are not washing their hands enough. And, and also I'd finish kids' food off quite often and things like that. But I do distinctly remember saying to someone at one point, I seem to get gastro, I don't know what it is. So maybe that is what's going on. In California, where my dad lives, right, when they've had rain,
sepsis,
and they have the runoff, as they call it, no one surfs.
Because of isn't it? What's they call it?
They call it the runoff. Oh, if you get a cut.
You get bacterial infection.
Yeah, but it's really... there's a name.
Septic shock.
No, it's not septic shock. It's something.
But
I remember not wanting to surf.
I have surfed. I have surfed
Yeah.
upper trestles, like overhead and pumping with 2 people out.
Because no one wanted to surf.
Because no one wanted to surf because it was the runoff, and my dad was saying to me like, oh, it's the runoff, no one's going in, and I went in and I was fine, and I remember thinking it rather bizarre. But I suppose we get so much rain, they don't get that much rain. Now you're going to tell me the science of that in California, where it's dry all the year. It probably is quite bad when they get rain, isn't it?
I think that they have a different sort of kind of land surface, meaning that when it rains, a lot of stuff can wash out. We have a lot more vegetation. I don't know, there's differences in how runoff gets transported. That's my guess. There's a lot more paved there and built up.
So our rain is sort of, whatever dirt is in the ground has had much more time to be pulled out to sea by rain, whereas in California, does it build up and then they get a big rain?
I think it can get, potentially.
Yeah.
I'm not kind of...
What's the solution, though? Like, so you know these water company, what should they... I've never heard that.
Good question.
I've never heard, like...
Well, here,
how
do you mean here?
Yeah,
Build a bigger tank.
Because I'm like, well, sure they shouldn't be releasing the sewage, but then I think... And this is me just being ignorant. I'm like, oh, where are they meant to put it? I don't...
Build a bigger tank.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's just the tanks.
And then either put our bills up or cut their profits.
Or put a roof over it so the rain didn't...
Yeah.
But
it's infrastructure. They've got to build
it is infrastructure.
Yeah, in the last decade, there hasn't been the increase in size needed to navigate the increase in population density in coastal areas too. So if it rains, your capacity is going to be reached and you don't have the infrastructure. I mean, if you have 10 people in the house, you've got 2 toilets, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, got you.
So I think we need to increase the number of toilets.
In the last 2 years, I've interviewed both Dave T.C. Davis, the MP, on behalf of the government, Welsh Secretary, on this issue, and I've interviewed Giles, the Chief Executive of Surfers Against Sewage, and I've put each other's cases to each other. So I will, in the name of fairness, tell you them both. Dave T.C. Davis says that the only other option is for the sewage to come backwards out of everybody's toilets because there's not enough room in the system.
Right.
And
sound comfortable.
And Giles says that Dave is masking the fact that the sewage companies just simply need to build a bigger tank, in essence. And that
I just want to surf.
Yeah. But in the summer or in the winter, let's get back to that then. So you're in winter.
Anytime there's wind and rain, I'm happy.
Yeah, well, I think just like the last 3 summers have been like every summer's got worse and worse. So yeah.
For waves
now.
Mental health, if I go more than a week or 2, it starts, then you have to go to the wave.
Yeah, it's like getting hangry, isn't it?
Yeah, you get hangry.
Surfgry.
Then you get a swell, and if you have a prior commitment, say you go to some landlocked location, you miss it, and that's it for like a month.
Yeah.
And you come back, and you've heard these 2 days.
Yeah, so the best ever.
I'm going to go summer, and I'm going to say I love the sun. It makes me really happy. I love the sun, and I like it when the water's a bit warmer. I like to surf in shorties. I like to surf in shorts. I think it's a much more enhanced sensory experience having the water like on more of your skin. And I don't care about the people, and I don't care about I like that kind of. I like the beach being busy. Like you guys know, I'm blessed to be very near the beach, and I love it. I like that it's busy. I like. And this is going to bring us into our next topic in a second. Now, I just go in bad waves more often in the summer, and I just surf really bad waves, and I just love surfing all waves. And Elliot Dudley will know this quote off by heart. I'm going to try it. Got to get the words right. Mickey Munoz says, I'm almost right. There is no such thing as bad conditions. Just a poor choice of equipment and a lousy attitude. And so in my mind, I think the summer, just add volume. And so to me, like
he's never been to Wales, has he?
Goofing around on like a big soft top in a pair of board shorts.
That is fun.
Like I like it.
It doesn't quench it for me.
Yeah,
I've
when we talk about you might like that, but you prefer pumping.
Does it fill the surf hole?
Okay, so if you could give me one day, right? So if we could pick a day, so tomorrow, would I want a 30-degree day and like 1 foot rest bay in my shorts and going in the water 4 times and playing down the beach all day?
Don't forget about 50 people out as well.
And 50 people out, okay, fine, and and or would I want a really cold, hanging, rainy day,
dark morning, dark
evening, wet wetsuit,
crisp,
put it all on and surf the point as good as it gets?
that's what you prefer, I reckon.
I feel like the audience knows which one.
You're right. You've turned me.
You know what I mean? Like if we're talking about prefer.
But it's not like that every day in the winter.
No, but it's not like that every day in summer. We have terrible summers too.
No, it isn't. But yeah, interesting. Now, I have data. I'm not going to bore you all with it, but we're coming on with this. We got the scientist. We've got. What are you, Logan? Are you
the fireman?
Are you the fireman?
The firefighter?
Do you know, I gotta say,
future fiance.
It's rubbish, isn't it? This idea that there's the science brain, the arts brain, whatever. Like it's rubbish.
Them all,
yeah. So
I think.
Right, Cindia's. I tell you what. This is going to sound very saccharine. There's no scientist and fireman here. It's the champ and the champ. There we go.
Yeah,
I like it. I'll take it.
And I happen to know that both champs here and this, whatever we call it, champ and chair, the chair, we all keep surf diaries, don't we?
Yeah.
And so I can bring data to bear on this if I wanted to. And in fact, in the past, myself and Colin Bright actually gave our surf diaries to an energy company who were doing research into coastal processes and effects on surfing when they were considering building various wind farms or tidal turbines offshore, and they were going, have you got surfers with information they could match up? So I've kept the diary for years. I think it goes back, the practice of keeping my surf diary goes back in first instance to when I was 13. I had one.
Wow.
I don't have that one anymore, and I really regret that, because that was a very detailed one, because when I was 13, 14, 15, I was not only tracking my surfs, but I was tracking my progress learning.
Right.
And like what manoeuvres I'd been trying to do,
cool,
and you know.
You had a lot of time.
And and I remember, having a page where I would review goals and things like that, and I remember noting how many hours I'd been spending surfing, and then realizing that, and actually writing this and saying like, however, if I want to compete against somebody from Florida or California or even France, I've got to account for the fact that they're wearing so much less wetsuit, so they can bend their knees more when they're turning and they're more buoyant. So I've got to put in 4 hours of surfing for every 2 hours of a kid from Florida and every 3 hours of a kid from France.
Fair play.
And things like that. And going on nowadays, it's kind of date, conditions, a bit of details, usually like a wave or something, or a moment from the session that I might remember, and sometimes I might add my watch details up to it if I've done it on the watch. You guys keep surf diaries, so let's start with you. What do you put in your diary, Sindia? How do you do it?
I started mine when I moved to Lancewood, actually, because I didn't know the spots, and it's so complicated that I thought I needed to keep a lot of information to figure out where everybody went when the winds were east. So I keep winds, tidal stage, period, swell direction, and then I compare the wave model buoy data to my observed height.
Oh, so you keep that on there, do you?
Well, I look at the wave buoy and I look at what I thought it was. This
sounds like it might be an electronic diary.
No, it's handwritten, but then I just go to the app and I look at the wave buoy.
You then write in what that said.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
And then my annotations are something like, why did you rock up at this tide? That's wrong. You should have come 2 hours earlier. And I make a special note and put it in the appendices, which is like, never go to this spot at this time, or everyone rocks up this tide, so it's local knowledge. That's really important for me. So I watch whoever the best surfers are, and if I rock up at that, the same time as them, I feel like I'm getting everything together. Cool. So I actually don't have anything about who I surf with. It's all about just trying to go surf at the best time possible. So it's all the surf forecasting information.
Cool.
So if that ever gets published, it can ruin surfing for everybody forever.
Yeah.
Not many people ask me questions.
So the purpose of this diary then is to learn rather than to remember or reflect.
And to be at a spot, any spot
Enhance enjoyment.
in the local area in the right moment in time. So the precise 2-hour window that is best for that 24-hour period.
Do you ever worry by having that diary?
It drives me crazy.
Yeah, that, but also that you're gonna because sometimes you go somewhere where it shouldn't really work, but then it is good at that time. Do you ever worry that you might miss? The
winds really mess me up. I think the winds do. It's like, this is and then I'm at the wrong time, and it could come 2 hours later then, and then I'm like, it's awful.
Oh, just to add a quick addendum as well on that to that summer-winter debate, right? I would give me any day a raging storm like the one we've just had, where you can keep your eye on the ground and pick out the hour and a half of northwesterly and get in there then, than a nailed on perfect so-called, seaweed 5-star forecast days out. Any day.
Yeah.
Any day. My best surfs are always that when the wind, the wind puffed the right way, or the point was more lined up than you thought it was going to be, despite being 20 miles an hour on shore or something.
Not an aggro crowd fighting for the good.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about your diary, Log.
If I have to sign the confession, I haven't kept one this year. So
really?
I started the year off with an injury, didn't I?
You did a magic seaweed article on diary keeping.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so
confessions.
Well, that was just to get the sea skins and animal stickers in magic seaweed on the right coast.
So I came off last year literally surfing like 500 times in a year.
500?
Is that what it was?
I think it was just under 500, yeah. Well, that article was 500, yeah.
So how did you know that it was...
So it was 480 something surfs.
How did you know that it was that then? Had you set out at the start of a given year?
No, I just tallied my whole year. I just tallied.
And you were surprised.
And I was surprised.
How did you start doing that?
It was my New Year's resolution. I thought this year, because I remember Bateman did it, and I said I was going to do it, and I didn't do it till like February. I was like, right, next year I'm going to do this. So it was my New Year's resolution, but I had to keep it to where it was doable for me. I was surfing so much. I was like, because some people told me, write in where you're going to surf, write in where you surf, write in what board you surf, and I knew if I do that, I'm going to get, but I would have given up. I would have just like forgotten and got bored. So I just thought, right, just drawing a line in a book with a month and then a line. I was like, I think I can hold myself accountable for that.
Make a notch.
Yeah, just literally, it was just not.
See, I do that at the end of the year. It takes me about half an hour. I just tally it up at the end of the year. It takes me about half an hour.
It still took me half an hour. I'd only done the line. So I did that the whole year. And I did 480 something, but then I also, because I didn't know if a heat was a surf, so I had a little section for heats. I think I did 16 heats or something, so it tipped out, if you counted the heats as well, it's just over 500 surfs.
Okay.
But then...
I count heats.
Yeah.
So I'd count myself, didn't I? I'd count 2 heats, so you come out...
Enter and exit.
If you change a vest...
Yeah.
And go back in.
I just counted like... how many heats I surfed.
Okay.
So
and then the injury.
And then I hurt myself in Coney. With Dodd was there. I thought I'd broken my ankle, and I was just about to start my new job, and I was like, oh no. And then it was probably my worst injury I've had. I just couldn't surf on my ankle. I went away to the fire school for 5 weeks up in the north of England, didn't surf. So I just was out of the game. And then when I started surfing again, I was just a bit unmotivated because I thought, I've got a full-time job now. I'm not going to surf as much. So it dwindled this year for me for like a few reasons. But what I will say is I wish I had kept how many surfs I've had. I reckon it's probably at least half of last year. But I think I've probably improved this year more than I did in that year.
Really?
Never know.
100%. Yeah, I'll never know how many I've done to get this rate of improvement.
Okay.
I've seen more maturity and like improvement in my surfing just from like a video.
Yeah.
Subjectively, than I have in other years. So it's funny. I wonder why.
Number of surfs then is important because when I was a Grom, that's the other thing. My old diary when I was a teenager, it was hours. And all my targets were to do with hours. Believe it or not, when I was 14, 15, 16, my target was 4 hours a day.
Wow.
Average.
That's crazy.
So if I'd ended up only getting in the water like 5 or 6 hours in the school week, I'd have to surf for like 8 both days on the weekend.
That is a cool goal.
And that was what I was trying to do.
When you have endless time, right now you're like in and out.
And
it's 10,000 hours to excellence, isn't it? They say 10,000 hours to excellence.
Is that what you were thinking? Yeah.
Did you?
This was before 10,000 hours was a proven thing. Chris Sage and I had this idea. It was like, this is what we got to do. But it was because this is what we got to do because in Florida and California it's warm.
It would have been cool if you'd gone then, well, you could have a 4 hour surf but you could only catch 5 waves. So do you go off waves and then do you go off time of your... I always thought, I wonder how many top turns Kelly Slater's done in his life. Because it doesn't really matter how many surfs he's done.
Yeah.
How many manoeuvres has he done? How many airs has Gabriel Medina done to be able to do airs? I always think that.
Or how much time in the tube.
How much time in the tube.
Does he even know?
No, they don't know. Yeah. But I just wonder. I just think, that would be cool.
There was an article in Surfer magazine years ago trying to work out a formula for the tube.
Really? How many?
So it was quite simple. It was like how often do you surf? how many times do you get barreled on average when you do it? What's the average length of your barrel? And then it would add it up to like the total. And they'd concluded that Rabbit Bartholomew had spent like 3 months in the barrel or something like that.
No
I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was I don't know if it would have survived a peer review.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
So
do
we keep targets? Are we on targets?
I'm not on for my target.
Do you set and keep targets for? Because I was going to say it used to be hours. Now it's number of surfs for me. And so I could go surfing and catch 2 waves, or I could go surfing for 4 hours in Caravan Point, and it would be like they'd both just be a 1.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't really set targets of like how many surfs I want to have or how many hours I want.
And do you have a rule of like when it's 2 surfs or when it's 1 surf?
I did, yeah. Like obviously I haven't been keeping one, so I haven't like.
And we'll do this. We'll test it out for a review of you then. Right. Okay. So you're in one end of town. You know my rules.
Yours is sustenance, isn't it?
Yes.
Take on sustenance.
This always happens to me. I've told people something before. Sorry if it's happened to you.
Sorry. Revealing your. But it's an interesting one, but I didn't agree with it.
Take on either water or food.
That's a fair one.
And that's a break in a surf session.
Yeah, that's a break, but I don't count getting in a car and driving from one surf to another.
Yeah,
or getting on my bike and riding from one beach to another.
Getting out your suit. So I've done this. I've gone out of my suit at Rest Bay, gone to Coney. I haven't taken anything on, and then I've gone in at Coney.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's 2.
So it's change suit, take on sustenance,
it can be either or.
Change rash vest for a contest.
Okay.
So if you're in a clubby, where like you come in.
Change rash vest at the wave?
And then, change rash vest at the wave.
So how many wave sessions is 2 surfs?
I think a wave session is an individual.
I do 2 surfs. I do 2 surfs there. I'd count that as 2 surfs.
Yeah, because one surf you get a lot of waves in one surf, doesn't you?
Yeah, I'd count going in twice as 2 surfs at the wave, yeah.
Right, yes. Yeah. Got you.
I don't think I have as strong criteria as you both. I think I go in maybe once in the morning, and if I get a double section, I'm super stoked.
Right.
and
then that's
2
2
for the
surfs.
day.
Yeah.
So I surf, and then I stop surfing, and then I do the kids stuff, and then I surf again. And so there's less of me having. Back in the day, though, totally. McDonald's, getting my burger, and going back out, going into 7-Eleven in my wetsuit, dripping wet, getting some food, going back out. In those days, I guess it'd be a blurred line from when there's start to finish. But these days, it's not blurred. It is.
Deep down,
work,
you know how many
family.
surfs you've had, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Like deep down,
point.
you know, that was 1 surf or 2 surfs.
Well, Tris Davis does it on number of days surfed. So if he goes surfing 5 times in one day, it's still 1.
Underselling himself.
So the max you can have is 365.
I think we need to standardise this criteria.
You've got to the numbers, and this is where let's talk numbers then, right? So you just said 365, right? So for years and years and years after growing up, from moving on from the Grom, who tried to do 4 hours a day, right? My goal was always 183 surfs a year.
Got you.
Right?
Same as Bateman, that is.
Is that what Bateman
does?
That's
what he aims for, is 100.
What's the maths behind that, please?
I hope he got that from me. So the maths is, if you double 183, you get 366. So 183 is 365 plus 1. So it is it's half.
Okay.
So it's just over half the year.
Right.
So it's more than half.
It's more than half the year, yeah. So half the year would be 182 and a half days, wouldn't it? So it's just over half the year, right? Now, when I then had kids, I decided to not track that at all and just surf when I could. And I came out with 83 surfs the first year after having kids. So this 183 had gone right down. I'd basically lost 100 surfs. So this is a warning now to you and Nicol.
And if she has a kid, even more.
Right. And then it slowly built its way back up. And then I reached a point where I set the goal again. And so last year I set 122.
And?
So 122 is 366 divided by 3.
Right? Yeah.
Third of the year.
So it's a third of the year. So it's 1 surf for every 3 days, right? And last year I got 116.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And so then this year I set that again, but I've set an extra goal this year, and I went 122, and then I went 183 for exercise sessions.
Oh, nice.
Because I go for I run at dawn before it's light and things like that, or before kids are awake or whatever, And then this has led to I've gone down a proper rabbit hole with this, if any of you are still listening, okay? because I ended up realising then that 122 is 10 surfs a month and 12 surfs 2 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Achievable.
Achievable. So my 122 for this year then changed to 10 surfs a month.
Okay, it's 120
And
surfs.
that has been...
But so if it's flat in July...
Yeah.
And you got to double
So
up
in
on that.
July...
Do you have to go in July?
So
okay.
in July...
It's 10
July
times
is a
more.
brilliant example of this. I got sick. With 9 days left in July, and it had been totally flat, and I had 6 surfs still to do. Right? So I got there.
Made yourself
So with the last 6 days of July left, the first 2 of those 6 surfs were like going in, like pretty much vomiting and ill, right? Then I had 4 days in a row of glorious weather, and my kids were booked into a drama club, and I was going to Scare every single day, and it was just lush. And then, like that last day of July, when I realised I'd got to 10, and I was strolling back from Scare, and my hair was drying in the sun and everything. But this July turned out to be the easiest. Then August, fine, no problem. But since then, September and October have been absolutely like really pushing to get it in. And now we're in November, and I'm going to need a few things to go right. We've got 2 days left in November at the time of recording, and I need one more.
Do you need one more?
Yeah. So.
It's Surf Friday, definitely.
But you know what?
He's a teacher, though, isn't he?
Yes, that's right.
If the Welsh
You can't surf Friday.
had... if I'd not got through the heats I got through in the Welsh,
you wouldn't have been able to count them.
I'd have come unstuck on the 11th month of the year, having managed to do it. But I had also at the start of the month, when my back was injured, just said, like, right, I'm going to give up on November, just forget about it. Because I actually calculated that there is not, for me, we talked about daylight, there's not 10 days available in November to me on my diary this year where I will see enough daylight
That's a sad
to
stat,
get
isn't
in. I know, exactly.
That's sad, yeah.
But then the Welsh has ended up coming to my aid because I ended up banging 4 heats in at the Welsh when I was only planning to do one. And
so you need one more.
And so now I only need one more surf. So and so that December's fine then because you've got the Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
And I could potentially be over the line. But I'm not doing it next year. I'm resigning from surf counting.
Why?
Because I've been going in really bad surf too often. And next year, I'm going to keep the 183 exercise goal.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have total flexibility. Interchanging. So at the moment, I count a surf as an exercise, right? So it's 122 surfs plus the 60, whatever it is, exercises needed, right? So next year, I'm going to try no surf target, the 183 exercises, and instead I'm going to go, if the surf's bad, I'm going to run.
Nice.
Or I'm going to do something, or I'm going to go to the gym.
Well, this year I've also not counted because I had an injury in my calf. I pulled my calf muscle, so I had to take like 2 months out. But I'm like Logan, kind of like I'm training, I'm surfing, I'm doing the cumulative total just to be positive about it. Because so this year, this year I paused as well because I took 2 months out. Last year it was like
I was
154 last year.
In January.
It was making me down because I was like, I'm not accumulating. I have 2 months out, so I just said, you know what, just take a break. And I'm just trying to surf well in my sessions now. But last year it was 154, so I didn't quite make the 183.
Was there a target?
No, actually, I never put a target. I just was stoked to surf. I was like, more than 0.
Can we press you for one?
Oh, well, if you're gonna now I'm competitive, and you told me about your target.
So you're now committing now. January the 1st, you're on.
Well, I'm going to Morocco for a week, so it'd be a good start. I could bank like a solid 14 surfs and.
So come on then, targets. I'm writing them down, Sindia.
I'm gonna put myself out there and try and reach the Tom Jamie 183.
183. And you're not going to go monthly or anything?
No, just cumulative.
What's this, 2025 now?
Yeah.
Right, Logan?
Why not?
Next year. I'll aim for 365. I'll try
I feel like there's just disparity between our numbers.
Come on.
I'll try it. I don't know if I'll be...
365.
I might not quite get there.
Beware the jealousy, the green-eyed monster that doth mock the meat it feeds on.
I thought that was a high number. I was like,
okay.
I remember sitting at the beach, though, in my van, like, on the beach, and people would come up to me and go, have you got nothing better to do? And I'd go, I have nothing better to do. I'd say, this is all I have to do. This is it.
Nothing
this is my
better
life.
implies it's not good.
I had the best thing to do in the world. I had a Tommy Bahama in the back of my van, and people would be like, oh, what's it been like? I was like, yeah, it's been fine. I've surfed twice already, and this is all I have to... This is the only thing I'm worried about. And this year it hasn't been like that. I bought a house and stuff. That's fun. So yeah, it might be a bit different. It might be a bit harder.
Right, so you're coming down from 500 to 365 because you bought a house and got engaged.
I'm not engaged. I got a job. But yeah.
Because you got a job.
Got a job, yeah.
I'm going up 30.
Right, Cindy's going up 30, right,
That's
okay.
a lot. I
Yeah,
have an
we can
11-year-old,
do it.
8-year-old.
Maybe I'll interchange them for exercise.
Okay, oh,
Can I-
is that what you, go on then.
I like that idea.
No, like 365.
Maybe you have a
but,
bonus 20 where you
Yeah.
could say if 20 could be exercise. So 20
Right.
of those could be exercise.
okay. Yeah,
Oh, right, hang on, I'm writing
And
it down.
I can borrow 10 of Logan's if I need to in a year from now.
Right, so asterisk equals 20 can be exercises.
Yeah. And I can borrow 10.
Okay, I'm going to put this on Instagram.
Oh no.
And let's get producer Dodd then.
I'm up to a 96 for the year so far.
96
Dodd, that's
of the
good.
year.
You can break 100.
My goal is 100. I want to do my long-term goal is over 10 years of diary keeping to get 1,000.
Right, so
Nice, I love that.
producer
I like
Dodd's
that.
going for 100 and he's going for
That's
1,000
impressive.
in a decade.
That's a clever way to do it.
I've also got a minimum requirement for a surf, which I don't think Tom achieves because I think he goes into some shocking conditions.
Yeah.
Right,
My minimum is must stand up and ride a wave with control 3 times to call it a section.
3 times? Oh, right, okay.
It's a good bar. It's a decent bar.
3 times.
I think we need to standardize the criteria maybe.
I'm
In your
once.
Instagram post.
You're
can
just
standardize.
once. Oh no, they can't be once.
But if you longboard, like a longboard session can count. So if you just cruise down the
Yeah,
I thought about this. You
Yeah.
could literally run in, stand up on a
up.
wave, go in, eat
come
a
out.
banana,
Go back
go
in.
back in. I remember when you said sustenance, I was like, yeah, silly
No,
criteria, because I could, in my van, sitting in my Tommy Bahama, I thought, I could have like 20 surfs today. Do you know what I mean?
That's not really the spirit. of the
Then you might,
No,
then
exactly,
you might have
you know.
something
You're like
better to
Gabriel
do.
Medina now, and he's like, you're going to cause the rules to change because you're going to discover all the, like when he paddled down the point against Owen Wright at Bells, so that Owen Wright could do the 3 turns that took him halfway to the 8 before Medina dropped in
Just
on
dropped
him.
in, yeah.
And then they changed the rules now. You give away priority if you leave the peak. Right, you just left the peak, Logan. Okay, right. Okay, we're going to chuck these up on Instagram, and we're gonna do it at the new year though, right? So you're not going to see that on Instagram yet. And we're going to say what it is, we're going to write it up, and we're going to challenge people to see what they're going to do.
Just a quick one, just before we start. Why do you keep a tally? Why do we do it?
I had some thoughts on this. Local knowledge.
Go on.
So develop
Yours
your,
makes sense,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
I
develop,
thought that.
then also personal reflection, just to see how you progressed. Also, like Tom said, it's useful for other people. Like, some people may like his 10 years of data just to look at, how the coast is.
True.
Logan, you love a deep conversation, right? And the only thing that makes us humans different from the beasts of the field is that we use linguistic codes to create meaning in our lives.
Too deep.
So the
But
tally,
why is just a line?
the tally, it's meaning.
Oh, the tally
It means
itself.
something,
Yeah.
Why did we want Wales to beat South Africa the other day in the rugby? Like,
What, we
it's
knew
just
they
a
would've-
tally.
You're
It's
talking about a
it's
symbolic
tapping the ball
number,
over a
not the
line,
reason
you know?
why.
No,
do
I
it.
mean, like, is there a reason you're is it like to motivate you more? Is it
That's
to...
what I thought, not just
Yeah.
the actual tally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because I
Why?
like goals and can't win heats
It's
anymore
because-
because I'm
yeah.
too old now. Yeah.
Or does it suck the fun out of it? Or does it make you have more fun because you go in when you wouldn't have normally
Usually
gone
more fun, but the 10 a month thing has caused
It's stressing
the
you
end
out.
of each month.
in?
Is
Or you
really
walk back from
stressful.
scare feeling like a winner.
Yeah. But you end up with one surf at the very end of the month, feeling like this is the most important surf of my entire year. If I don't go in
I
today,
don't tell
the
me
whole
that.
month is, and it's like the whole year is gone on this one surf. And then the thing is, if you went for like the 365, right?
Yeah.
You spend all year getting all this surfing done, right? And then you get to the very end of December and you have like a nervous week trying to get to the goal, right? That's great.
Squeeze it in.
This has been the end of about 6 months of this year. Each month has ended with like the whole thing's down the pan if
Yeah,
I don't get in
it
the
can all
water, you know?
collapse, yeah.
So that's the problem, is because I put myself through it like 12 times
Yeah.
instead of, because I'm often used to be on the 183s, it used to be like December,
Yeah.
be disappearing off with a belly full of Christmas pudding or something, you know?
The only problem with yours, if you, like, let's say you have a pumping month in, I don't know, April,
Yeah.
and you smash your 10 surfs out in the first 2 weeks, do you just become a bit lazy then the last 2? You're like, I can just put
No.
my feet up now. You
No,
still
because I
keep-
surfed, like 20 something in August.
Oh, fair enough.
No, just
So,
carried
yeah.
on. I was in France in all of August, so like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was down at the Boardmasters though, and because I wasn't sure whether I'd get in the...
And that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was like, France was a family trip, and I was like, I could end up surfing 15 times or 0, who knows? I literally didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I did end up going in really bad conditions a few times early in the Boardmasters. Then it got good at the end.
Yeah.
But let's give a shout out, right? One night at the Boardmasters, it was dark. It was 45 minutes left, and I was like, I need to surf here just in case. And I couldn't motivate myself to go, right? And me and Rob Blythe and Rob Gunning were sat up in the tower, and it was getting dark. And one lone person went in, and it was hanging, and not even I went in, right? And it was, I'm trying to remember whether it was the elder or the younger, it was Annette.
Oh, yeah.
Annette the Basque, Annette Gonzalez Eshtabari.
They both ripped, and they both...
And she went in, and it was horrendous. And the following morning, she smoked Alice Barton in a heat. And I remember halfway through the heat thinking, like, that's why she went surfing in terrible waves last night, you know? So, Hey, great, love that, guys. I think we've got challenges for everyone here. Last of all, we're just gonna wind down now. We're gonna ask you, right? Channel Coast, Logan. You're on enemy territory here down in Crest Garden Studio, right? You're a Channel Coaster.
Yeah.
I heard Channel Coast is running slow at the moment.
Oh, you've heard wrong.
Yeah.
Two open finalists.
Good results at the Welsh. Good results at the Welsh, right?
Yeah.
But apparently, there's just it's a WhatsApp at the moment, And
the WhatsApp's been a bit quiet, but we're rebuilding.
So you've got a previous history of turncoating. You were formerly Welsh Coast, and you're a bit of a
I might join Langland.
Sign for Tottenham, sign for Manchester City, Chelsea. You go off to play in Saudi next. All of that, right? So Channel Women Surf got their first Welsh title.
Yes. Little shout out to the club. We're almost in April going to be the
Do you take male members, and are you interested in a 3-time Welsh Open champ?
Well,
you might be looking for a new stable.
Two things. I think it's really great that there's a place for all of us, whether it's Welsh Coast Surf Club or Channel Coast Surf Club or Channel Women Surf Club.
That's not that sort of talk we want at the Wilkinson sword, is it? Where's the abuse?
I live in lands of nature. I think that we have ally memberships. We have 5 male members currently.
Right.
We have 50 members.
Are you guaranteed a place in the team, Logan? Oh no, maybe he's not. I don't know.
True, 5. Yeah.
Well, they need.
Yeah. No, I think we could. So basically, Channel Women's Surf Club is not about competing. There's a few of us who do, and it was really great in the nationals to kind of showcase the diversity of clubs. But we're actually kind of more about building community and connecting people across the channel I want more women to surf Lantwit. I want to surf other spots. Since that club, I surfed Ogmore now, Lowe's, the Rivermouth. I feel like I'm diversifying mine. So please, for anyone who's interested, go to our Instagram and find out more, whether you're a woman or man or LGBTQ+, anything and everything.
So Logan, on Saturday morning last week, you were going in round 1 of the Welsh in the worst waves you ever surfed all year out of your 500 surfs or whatever it is. And now we fast forward a few days later, you're now a 3-time Welsh champ instead of a 2-time Welsh champ. You're engaged, and you've signed to surf for Channel Women Surf in the next Wilkinson Sword.
I couldn't imagine this week being like this.
I love it. Hwyl fawr, everyone. Diolch am gwrando.